happy Feel Good Friday. Yes, we got Car Chronicles this morning. Today is Feel Good Friday, y'all, and I can't even tell y'all how I feel this morning. I just know I feel better than good, right? Ooh, I feel better than good. I got a testimony, y'all. Y'all don't even want to, y'all just won't even believe it, but because I know my God is who he says he is, I know that God is the only reason that things transpired in my life the way they have the last couple months. So today is Feel Good Friday, and I feel good for a number of reasons. Number one, God woke me up this morning on this side of heaven, clothed and in my right mind, as the old saints used to say. Amen. Amen to that. Also, the Relax, Relate, Release workshop is Sunday, 2 days away. I'm excited for that. Last night I was up preparing the gifts for the attendees. I have to finish those today. So I'm just so grateful for the women who have decided that they are tired and they need a pause and they ready to sit down things that don't belong to them and all the things. If you are not in attendance, you have until 6 p.m. today to purchase your ticket. Additionally, a young lady who already purchased her ticket is unable to attend. So if you would like to attend and have a seat at the table, please let me know. Send me a DM on whatever social media platform you're watching this on. And then the other thing that I am so most grateful for this morning is, and this is going to be a long testimony, so y'all ride with me. Back in December, back in November, I was contacted by a recruiter who was looking for an individual to fill a senior management position in Baltimore. And so I live in DC. I was working I don't live in DC. I live in right outside of DC. And I was working in Arlington. My commute was probably 35-40 minutes. And I had been with the company for 8 years. Within that 8 years, I was promoted within months from an assistant to a property manager. This position that I was contacted for was for a senior property manager role. Again, I had been a property manager for 7 years, and I felt like this was something that I could do, right? Because I've been doing it. So I left that company. Tenants were sad. My co-workers were sad. Like, everybody was like, we understand, you deserve this, but we're gonna miss you. So I moved into this new position with high hopes of, I've been doing this for 7 years, I can do this, I know what I'm doing. I would not have been given my outstanding promotions, my outstanding performance reviews and my raises and my bonuses throughout the years if I was not doing an amazing job. And just the feedback that I was getting from my tenants and co-workers, I was like, I got this. And also God saying, look, I'm not going to put you somewhere where I know you're not going to excel. So I walked into the position again with my eyes open wide, my heart open, my mind open. I was told at one of the interviews that the individual that held my position before abruptly quit. Put a pin in that. She abruptly quit, and then she came back and she basically took the assistant that was there with her. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, so there clearly was some stuff going on. So I get there the first week, everything seems all right. I'm excited, right? I got, when you go into something new, you got all these ideas of things that you want to implement, but I didn't want to go in too fast, right? I made the mistake, and I did go in fast, right? That was the mistake. I went in thinking that I could bite the whole cake, and later realized that I needed to take this thing piece by piece. Within 2 to 3 weeks of me being there, I completely understood why the previous senior property manager quit. It was clear as day. But because I know that God will not put more on me that I could bear, I knew that God had something for me to do there. Now, I didn't just come to that conclusion haphazardly, right? Me and God had some conversations, and I was like, Lord, why did you bring me out here? Like, I'm not happy. This is not what I'm used to. I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is a lot. It was a lot on me mentally and emotionally. And the roadblocks that I ran into were unlike anything I had ever experienced in any workplace. Not just where I had come from 8 years prior. Any workplace. I had never experienced anything like it, of people not wanting to do the job that they were hired to do, right? And so working my way through those issues with individuals, or with a specific individual who just was not trained to do their job properly. And so I'm like, let me show you how to do your job. I have been in this position. I have worked my way up through real estate, property management, through the property management industry, from a receptionist to a senior property manager with no college degree. Tell me that ain't God. Tell me that ain't God. I started as a receptionist, and one of the asset directors then said, this is not all that you're going to be, and took my hand and basically walked me through the first 5 years of my career. And so I was determined, and I'm still determined, that I'm that person that if I see potential in you, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab your hand if you're willing, and I'm going to help you work through this to get you where it is you want to go. The person has to be willing. And I was met with so much just so much like no and defiance. And I'm saying defiance because it was to the point where I almost had to fire somebody because they were making up things. They were lying on me. They were saying that they didn't like my tone and how I was speaking to them, and everybody at the property feels this way because people want y'all to do y'all job. I didn't come to work to make friends. I come to work to do a job. But I want to do that job in an environment that does not cause me anxiety when I am leaving or on my way into the office. Okay, so we reconciled that issue, okay? We got people on board. We got people doing their jobs. But then we got people who are not part of my organization that I work for, but affiliated with the facility that I work in, overstepping their boundaries. Doing way too much, like the captain of Team Too Much, making it difficult for not just me, but other individuals in management positions to do their job because they are beyond, like, what is there anything above a micromanager? Like a tetra manager? Like, I don't know, but it was just a lot. And it makes it difficult for you to function and do your job and pour into your employees and lead your team when you constantly have somebody going, did you do, and sending an abundance of emails throughout the day that keeps you away from doing your actual job. And I just said, God, this cannot be it. Like, Lord, why did you bring me here, God? What am I here for, God? God, I don't want to be here anymore. And God said, be patient. Be patient. So I was patient. And I heard that there was a position open in Alexandria, Virginia. I reached out to my point of contact and was like, hey, is that position still open? I'm looking to transfer. They were like, this would be a great fit for you. It's multiple buildings, something you're more comfortable with. They understood the issues that I was having at this other location because they were encountering the same, yet they were on board with me transferring because, as they said, you are an amazing employee and you are good at what you do. So we're going to make sure that we put you somewhere that is a better fit for you than here. And they did not lie. Like, they were 10 toes down supportive of me being reassigned to a different property. Nonetheless, I go to this property. I'm interviewed by 5 people. Five. The first 3 interviews were great. Everything was positive. They were wowed by my experience, not having a college degree, but being able to achieve all the things that I have over the last 20-something years, and were like, yes, you would be a great fit for here. We need you to come in and hit the ground running. The previous senior property manager resigned. She's been gone now for a month and a half, almost 2 months. The GM was doing the work and he needed to be able to concentrate on his job. Boom, got it. Now, the last hurdle, I had to be interviewed by 2 people from the ownership team. Y'all, this man came in and gave me a quiz. Like, I have never been in an interview where I'm actually asked quiz questions based on what, and some having nothing to do with my position. The individual who would have been my manager was on the interview with me, and when the interview ended, he called me and he said, I don't even know why he asked you some of those questions. Some of those questions have nothing to do with your position. Yet, we were optimistic, right? Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, that position did not come to fruition. And I was pissed. I was pissed because they could not give me a logical reason as to why the two people that I interviewed with last did not feel I was a good fit for this position. There was no explanation. They just didn't feel you were a good fit. Everyone on my team, including the person who referred me for the position, including the three people who interviewed me prior to them, were confused and puzzled. That's one of my words I made up. Confuzzled as to why I was not accepted. But God knew that wasn't the position for me, because God has something better for me. Watch God. We did a whole series on detours in our Bible study, and I've been on a detour, and God detoured me to where I'm headed to now. Okay. So a couple weeks passed, and I have reconciled with the fact that, you know what, I'm going to be here until God sees fit to put me somewhere else. And while I am here, I am going to do the job that I know I can do, and I'm going to do it with integrity. I'm not going to allow somebody to push my buttons to the point where I'm like, yeah, I need to leave early because I can't deal with this environment, or I'm not coming in because I don't want to be there. That is not how I operate. God said to me, do the job that I've sent you there to do. Don't worry about where you going next. I got that. And God had that. Because a few weeks later, one of the gentlemen that I interviewed with reached out to me and said, hey, Latreia, we have a position coming open in D.C. in the next couple weeks. Would you be interested in coming and talk to me about the position? I know you would be a great fit for this position. Smaller portfolio. I will report directly to him. Smaller team, nobody micromanaging. Local, one of the partners in one of the ownerships in one of the buildings is local. The other party that owns the other building is out of state, but they pop in once a month. You run your team, you do your job. You report to me on. Great. Interview for the position with him. Not even an interview. Just went to talk to him about the position to see if I would be interested. Absolutely. Driving to D.C. every day versus Baltimore, an hour and a half commute versus the 35-40 minute commute. Sign me up for the 35-40 minute commute, please. I'll take that for 1,000, Alex. I met the team. I met the woman who was promoted, and I would be filling her position. I walked the properties. One of the ownerships said, nope, we don't need to meet with her. We don't need to interview with her. We trust your judgment. One of the other ones wanted to meet with me. Took us 2.5 weeks almost to get this interview set up, which wasn't even an interview. We walked in, and they were like, so, are we interviewing her, or are we kind of just checking the box? Well, we're kind of doing both. We want her to fill this position, but you all wanted to speak with her, so that's why we set this meeting up. Oh, if you all are good, we good. When did she start? June 8th. Perfect. So today, hey girl, hey, I am driving to Baltimore for the last time to hand things off to the individual that will be taking over my position, to say goodbye to the staff, to pack up the rest of my office, and start my journey, another detour in DC. 35-40 minute drive from home. My wife can take the metro to me so we can have lunch or dinner, which I worked out of that office yesterday and the day before, and my wife took the metro to me and we carpooled home. We drove in together, and my life has been peaceful for the last couple weeks because I know that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. The saving grace is the individual that was causing the most chaos at the property that I'm leaving sent me an email yesterday And she said, I'm sorry to see you go. Your short time here has been impactful. I want you to know that you have made a difference and your energy here will be missed. Which means to me, I did what God told me to do. I need you to go and do your job and let me worry about the rest. Which means, despite all the things that were happening, I showed up and I did my job. I did the job that God told me to do. I didn't know what I was doing day to day because everything changed all the time. But through all the changes, I did what God told me to do. Even when I was wondering and questioning, God, why am I here? I still showed up and I did the job that God told me to do. And now I get to go to another building and do the job that God has called me to do. Obedience, doing what God calls you to do, will end in reward. Now, it's not going to be a reward as swiftly as it was for me or some others, but it's a reward nonetheless. And I thank God that I didn't have to cuss nobody out. I didn't have to falcon punch nobody in the throat, although there were times where I was like, yo, trader for 25 hours coming to, I had to push her back down because I was pushed to that point at times where I was like ready to explode. But God said, take a beat. They can't steal your joy because they couldn't give it to you. So let me remind you of who gave you your joy, who gave you this career, who got you to this point. Do the job I sent you there to do. And because I did the job that God sent me there to do, God saw fit to put me in another position, in a different environment where I can foster and I can grow and I can continue to do the job that God has called me to do. I hope that blesses somebody. Because I know there's other women out there, other individuals out there that are in environments, work environments, that are just testing them. And they looking like, God, when is this situation going to change? While you're there, do the job that God called you to do. Because God needs to be confident that you can do the job in chaos before he promotes you to do the job in peace. Can you handle this chaos? Can you handle this load? Because if you cannot handle this, then you ain't going to be prepared for what I promote you to next. Okay? So on this Feel Good Friday, I want you to feel good. I want you to be mindful that where you are is simply a detour. Just like Joseph, come on, had detours. But Joseph went from the palace, from his daddy house to the pit, to the palace, to prison, and back to the palace again. He still did the job that God called him to do in each of those environments. He didn't say because I'm in prison, I'm not going to do what God called me to do. He didn't say because I'm in this pit, I'm not going to do what God called me to do. He said it does not matter the environment, I'm going to do what God calls me to do. And in the end, God rewarded him. He used his gifts to continue to do what God called him to do. Use your gifts to continue to do what God called you to do, like Joseph in the pit. From the pit to the palace to prison and back to the palace again. Them ebbs and flows. Do it all. Do what God called you to do. You all have an amazing, amazing Feel Good Friday. I hope this helped somebody today. I hope it helps somebody in the future. It ain't always going to be pretty. Every environment and every situation, every job ain't always going to be your dream one. But through it all, do the job that God called you to do. And then wait for God to tell you to move. Because even though I didn't get that first position I applied for, what I got was the attention of somebody who was in a position to put me elsewhere. Right? It ain't always about getting that thing. It's about getting the attention of the person who can get you elsewhere. Through it all, I had people in my corner that were like, no, we're going to get you out of here because we would rather reassign you than lose you to a competitor because we know what you're capable of. God surrounded me with people who saw the him in me. That's why they said, we got your back. We're going to stand 10 toes down and support this transfer. sometimes that's what it's about. Aligning yourself with the people that God needs you to align with to get you to your next. You all have an amazing Feel Good Friday. A beautiful, beautiful weekend. If you're coming to the Relax, Relate, Release workshop, I will see you on Sunday. Remember, you have till 6 p.m. today to purchase your ticket. There's also a young lady who is unable to attend. So if you would like that ticket, let me know. DM me. But I hope this blessed somebody. I know it blessed me. It blessed my soul. You all be good. And I'll talk to you later.